Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GLORIO Chat, the best anime podcast on the internet. Time continues to creep by here. We're only like 2 weeks away from our 10th anniversary. Just going to mention that as of recording. And
Are we
that
getting
means...
a pay rise then, or...?
We'll talk about that, you know.
Hate this gig economy.
Times are hard. There's, inflation, But, yeah, that means new anime season approaching already. And we've got a whole list of exciting new shows to talk about.
The forecast has come in. It's
Just shows. We've got a list of shows.
Yeah.
Okay, look. Yeah. All right, look. We've been on a pretty good run of decent anime seasons, I feel like, the past couple seasons. And... to be fair, this season turned out all right. At least I think so. And we thought it was pretty dire at the beginning.
Yes, despite initial trepidation.
Yes.
Maybe that will happen this time, but...
I mean, it's the thing of we have done this, yes, as you mentioned, our anniversary's coming up. We have done this enough times that I think we can sort of feel it in our guts that, look... there's always something.
Yes.
Something, there's always a birdie wing or an Akudama drive, right? Just wasn't paying attention to that until...
until it jumped on us, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, who's to say we don't get another one of those next season?
Well, let's see if we can identify what the birdie wing will be ahead of time this time, but, although we didn't even talk about that in our last season preview, so...
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what I mean. I brought up... We did not... That's the thing. We did not...
The best show...
Our number one anime of the year was not even mentioned in the preview, podcast of its given season. So
the best show next season is something that we're not going to talk about today. So
exactly.
That should get you real excited for this episode. All right, well, before we get into... previewing the summer season here, let's introduce everybody. I'm Jel. I am joined by RWBY.
I'm still here. I'm not dead yet.
Still with us. We got G with us.
Hey, just want to wish a happy Father's Day to all the anime dads out there.
Yes.
Who
can we name one good anime dad?
I was gonna say, what's the batting average between anime moms and anime dads? Because
you know what? Anime dads make up better because there are dad animes, and I feel like there are no mom animes. If you think about that, but
I guess that probably speaks to the gender disparity in who's making anime, right? I guess that's probably what's going on there.
The supposed target audience. I don't
think
know.
Of one or two manga.
More depressing, I find, is that even though all the dad anime are about single dad because the wife tragically passed on or whatever, there are very, very few single moms in anime out there.
Yeah, the only one I
Also
can think
true.
of is the mom from Erased, right?
Right. There are a couple more, but they're few and far between, and they're normally side characters, not main characters.
Right.
So
yeah,
I wholeheartely endorse more single mom anime.
Yeah.
Please give us more.
Yeah, you would say that, wouldn't you, Jel? Boy. We've been stalling this whole time. I'm trying to who is the best anime dad? And I'm like,
Well, here's the thing. If you take the dad anime genre out of it, I feel like maybe moms would come out better.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Lloyd Forger's on the brain lately. He's a pretty good anime dad. Right? Yeah, I mean, fake anime dad. Do fake anime dads count?
Yeah, no, fake anime dads count. Sure. Yeah, but she calls him dad, right?
I don't know. Lord Genome was kind of an okay dad by the end. He did take the entire brunt of the anti-spiral attack and converted the energy into a giant drill with his head on the tip.
Yep.
Yeah,
it did happen.
And he did that for his daughter and future son-in-law, and I think that's very humble. I think it takes a lot of self-awareness to be willing to do that, for your kids.
I'll give you that one.
I read an article recently titled something like "Vegeta is a great anime dad. Here's why."
Oh right, I mean by the standards. Obviously by the standards of Dragon Ball, Piccolo is the best anime dad, right?
Yes.
Then
Oh,
it's
sure, yeah.
Vegeta. Then there's a huge power gap. Okay, you know what? Okay, no, the stack ranking of dads in Dragon Ball is probably Piccolo, Vegeta, Krillin, power gap, Goku.
Yeah,
Right.
Gohan
There's got to
doesn't
be
even
another.
rank, huh?
There's got to be another dad to put over Goku.
Guess-
All right, Gohan's look, man. I'm a DBZ guy. All right,
You're right,
Super
all right, yeah, that's fair,
Super
sir.
doesn't exist to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, Gohan is still like
Pen's there at the very,
16.
very end.
Yeah.
See, we can't keep talking about this.
Yeah. Let's.
I apologize. We should introduce the fourth person on this podcast. I'm sorry.
Yes, we got a bit sidetracked there, but we are joined by Artemis.
Hey, good to be here. I think actually this is my first preview show. I don't think I've ever been on one.
It might be. Yeah. It might be the first time we had you on a preview
You've
show.
definitely been on
so.
season wrap-up shows.
Yeah, I've been on a wrap-up,
Yes.
but I don't think I've been on a preview.
Well, this is good then. You now also get the opportunity to put your speculation out there so that you can be proven wrong later, like the rest of us.
Look, the thing you have to remember, and this is very important, is that you guys have shit taste.
Yeah, that is true.
I can't dispute this.
Yeah, I mean, that is
So-
accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have a better batting average than we do. But
And,
anyway,
and a lot of the stuff that you guys passed over, I introduced you to.
that is true.
It's true.
Look, when we'll be vindicated in the end when at the end of the year, Birdie Wing
rat
is
chat.
voted in as #1 anime of 2022.
Yeah.
My
now that we
goodness.
can't. Yeah, we can't have the anime of the year discussion yet. So let's
We're only halfway.
let's put that aside and get on to our summer 2022 preview here. If this is your first time joining us for a preview show, we do not cover every single show. We have picked a list of things to talk about. of
There
shows
are
that
too
we-
many.
Yeah,
Yep.
shows that we think that we might have something to say, whether it be good or bad, on. And stay tuned for our actual written first looks for mostly everything. We try to cover most everything when we do our written posts once things start airing. So let's kick things off then with returning series. And we'll start with the strangely popular The Devil is a Part-Timer. Season
I feel
2.
I feel like this was big like 5 years ago or something,
Longer.
right?
This aired 9 years ago.
Don't say that. I thought
Yes.
I thought I was over. I thought I
2013,
was-
baby.
I thought I was highballing when I said 5 years. You're telling me it's the
Yes.
same age as Kill la Kill.
Yes, this aired
Oh,
9 years
jeez.
ago. I actually went back and read the last post I wrote about it because I was writing weekly posts about this up until about halfway, and then I dropped it.
Oh my.
But yes, this was kind of one of the early Mao-sama shows where the reverse isekai where the demon king comes to Earth and
Yep.
he turns out to be a pretty nice guy as he lives out his mundane life or whatever.
Working
And
at McDonald's.
yes, he works at fake McDonald's or McRonald's. And okay, the show, in my recalling from 9 years ago watching it, it was okay. I think if I had to guess why it got popular, probably because at the time it was a fairly novel idea, and
All right,
then,
time and place thing.
yeah, and for some reason, even 9 years later, it seems to be hotly anticipated that it's coming back. But for me, I ended up dropping it because it was, I mean, it was kind of boring.
Yeah,
It was
the vibe
boring.
I
It was
always-
around when that show Working was also big.
Yeah, my things were like it was boring, and it wasn't like, and it specifically not really doing much with its concept in that, like, the Demon King guy, like, they kind of flash back to his previous life, and he was actually apparently an evil Demon King that was murdering people and stuff. Like, the main girl hates him because he destroyed her village or something, right? And like
Okay.
when he comes to Earth, there's like literally no reason why he has flipped over to being a nice guy. It's just like, okay, I guess he's a nice guy now. And
Well, but he has no powers either, so it's not like if he was an evil guy, he could actually do very much, right?
yeah, it's true. Like, so
He's
he doesn't
just
really
kind
have
of
his
there.
powers. That's part of the hook.
Putting like triple spicy on the fries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I quit the show, it was like midway through the season. There was like the big mid-season climax where he gets his powers back, at least temporarily. And there's like they like destroy the city, he destroys the city trying to save the city, right? And then like I'm thinking, oh man, this would be interesting.
Does everybody go, you Mao?
Well, it would be interesting if like there was aftermath to that, like he either kept his powers or the city was destroyed, and now there's like a new and they just like do a magical finger snap and everything goes back to the way it was. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to go back to this same thing again, and that's when I dropped it. And so I can't tell you what happens in the second part, but I can probably make a pretty safe bet it's the same thing that was happening in the first part, and probably the same thing that's going to happen in season 2. So
See.
Well, I watched the whole thing, and I
Okay.
can tell you that I also don't know what happens because I forgot.
yes.
So it wasn't very exciting. I do think the first half was a lot stronger than the second half. I remember thinking that when I was watching it. I'll watch season 2 just to see what it's like, and I don't think forgetting the rest of season 1 will be much of a hindrance to that, to be honest.
Indeed.
I think it was just it felt kind of like shonen power up kind of stuff, going at like battles and whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just got
fight
kind
over
of
the McDonald's
it got more
employee.
conventional. But
Yeah,
what drew me to the series in the first place was that whole like, not that it was a reverse isekai, but like I just like that kind of fish out of water comedy.
Sure,
Right.
That's
yeah.
true. Yeah.
So if they lean into
I'm a
this
demon,
again,
but I gotta work retail. Ugh.
Yeah.
well, yeah, and he shows up
Right.
in modern day Japan, and he's just like they don't know what police are. They don't know what like any of the food is. You know,
Hell's
they don't
French
know
fries.
what rent is, stuff
Right.
like that. So that to me is all kind of relatable. Having moved to several different countries where I do not speak
Right.
the language, but
Kong Ming would figure out what rent is pretty quick.
don't get me started on.
Well, that's like when we were talking about this season with Kong Ming, right? Like it starts as a kind of fish out of water comedy, and then Kong Ming disappears for the second half.
Yeah,
But we'll have that discussion next episode.
Yeah.
But
I guess it's interesting because, you know, of course, the question as always is, why did it take this long? Like, if this was a popular show that was
Yeah.
well liked at the time, you know,
right.
was it based
Why-
on? I assume it was based on some light novels, right?
I think
Probably.
so.
Yes.
Did the light novels like finish suddenly? Like, did the person take
They
a hiatus?
finished
Or
in 2020, it seems.
okay,
I see. So
and
maybe,
then there was COVID, right? So
Oh, that's true.
yeah, then I could definitely see this as either, you know, capitalizing on that, or it could even just be as simple as, well, the novel series is done, so now is the time to do an adaptation so we can gas the novel sales some
Right.
more, right?
Could have also
Yeah.
been a situation where like core staff was busy doing other things, and only now was when they could get them all back together.
I mean,
for
that
shit,
is an
right?
astounding amount of dedication to integrity if they were willing to wait 9 years
Right.
for the exact same staff to get
I
back
do have to
together
wonder,
again.
but though it's a different studio, which
I see.
brings up is going from White Fox to 3 Hertz an upgrade or a downgrade? Or
I mean,
is it
as
a side
always-
grade? Like,
it's a
It
side
depends
grade.
what.
Come on, let's be honest.
It depends what version of 3 Hertz you're
Right.
getting.
And I feel like with that sort of situation, it always depends really heavily on how much of the staff is being carried over, right? Because,
Right.
you know,
I'm seeing here it's the same director.
because like
Yeah,
a
you
lot of
could-
these things,
Oh, wait,
like,
no, sorry, it's the same writer, not the same director. Oops.
Right.
because oftentimes a lot of these studio shifts happen because of like scheduling, because of like a lot of the manpower available, but much of the core staff is still there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, example of a show that we'll probably be talking about in a future preview, you know, podcast is like Vinland Saga. The anime is getting moved from Studio Wit to Mappa,
Right.
but the writer, director, key anime, basically the staff is almost
Core
like
staff, yeah.
identical, like down to the last man. all that's changed is like the overall studio that's handling it. So, you know, I think for better or worse, right? Like the change in studio doesn't really tell us as much as we might want compared to looking at the staff. And if it's the same staff, then you know what? I guess for all the Mao heads out there, you know, they're probably in good hands, right? If it's the exact same people who did it before.
Some of them, yeah.
I think if they lean more into the comedy than the action, then it will be like a safe bet. I don't know if it'll be good, but it'll be safe. Like it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of ways, right? Like so much has changed in the last 9 years that you tell me that this show's coming back. I'm like, whatever. That's not like even the worst possible thing that could be airing at the moment.
I don't anticipate that it'll be awful. It's just, you know, would it be interesting enough to pull me back in? Probably not, but we'll see. All right. Let's talk about another popular property.
Yeah?
We'll talk about RWBY Ice Queendom.
RWBY, you mean from the hit game Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So this is interesting because, well, how would you describe the original RWBY series?
I mean, RWBY
animated series, right?
Yes, RWBY.
It's a fantasy action, right?
Yeah,
basically,
I mean,
or science.
But as far as
fantasy, if you prefer.
as far as like the
science
format, it's like a CG. Animated.
Yeah, so it was it was an all CG web series.
Right.
Originally, I mean,
Right.
still created by Rooster Teeth to this day. But yes, the kind of primary creative push behind it was a web animator named Monty Ohm, who unfortunately passed away. I guess actually probably quite a while ago at this point.
2015.
Right? Yes, 2015. Monty Ohm was he was an animator's animator.
That's what
he was a dude who, like, in a lot of ways, was not. This man did not care about story or characters or music or world building. What he wanted to do was animate cool looking fights. Like that was his priority at the end of the day. And you know, God bless him to his dying breath. That's what he did, and he was. You know what? I'll give him credit. He was for CG animation. He was pretty damn good at it. You know, I think he was doing a lot of stuff in CG animation that even like modern CG anime studios now are only really catching up to, right? Like your Studio Oranges and Sanzigens of the world.
Right.
As for the series itself, you know, it's a very, as someone who's only watched a few episodes of it, it is a very, you know, young adult girls fight bad guys sort of show, right?
That's fair.
You know, where everybody has like cool weapons like transforming scythes and shotgun gauntlets and such.
Right.
But,
I watched I don't know how many seasons I watched. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Oh, okay, so you watched full seasons, okay.
I watched like 3 or 4 seasons of it.
Wow, okay, so like you went past the Monty Ohm era then.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay.
But there are like, what, 8 now or more?
There's
no
so
idea.
many, yeah.
And so I don't, I no longer know what's happened with the story. But I'm interested to see how it will be adapted.
Yeah, so
by Shaft.
Right, so if you're more familiar with it, could you tell us, like, is this an original, like, story, or is this an adaptation?
I actually don't know.
I think so. From what I don't know if anybody knows, but from what I can tell, it's going to be an adaptation, and the big difference is now it's like traditional anime, like, so Shaft is making it.
Sure.
So it's no longer CG. It's going to be.
I know. All I know is that it's not like a direct sequel to anything, so it's not like only for fans of the original. Web
it is the
animations.
same characters.
I think it's going to be the same story, but just in a different format,
in traditional anime form,
and they may make some changes to the storyline or characters. I don't know, but it should be fine for kind of anyone to just jump in.
Right.
This is also semi-notable because other than Shaft, this is another one of the things where they just slapped Urobuchi's name on it.
Oh, really?
Toru Bukata is writing the scripts.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I have feelings about that. But...
Huke worked on the character designs.
Oh, Mr. Blackrock Shooter himself.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Although they don't look like his usual style, which is interesting. But
they are probably working. They have to probably keep it somewhat faithful to the original designs, right? So.
Yeah.
I mean, even just the art style is different than his usual weird, very very specific. He has a very identifiable art style. If you think of like Black Rock Shooter, if you see like the concept art for Steins Gate or stuff like that, like it's very distinct.
Right.
But,
so I guess it kind of leaves us in kind of in a weird place, right? Because I guess in theory this is meant to be for people who like looked at RWBY and looked at the like CG animation and went, "That's not for me." I guess this is meant to be maybe a more appealing to the taste of like your more typical anime fan, right? But like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, like there's stuff about it, right? That's like like the script writer involved and such that kind of.
Yeah.
I'm curious enough to give it a try. So we'll see what
I'm
happens.
reading on the ANN forums that the first 2 episodes will recap the first 2 seasons of RWBY, and then it will go into an original
that's
story.
quite a lot to recap.
Okay, and then it'll take an original direction from there. Interesting.
I wonder if
my enthusiasm just dipped a little bit.
Yeah. Are you think they're gonna have all the like original like insert songs from the original web series, right? Like the
Were there a lot of insert songs?
Yeah.
Well,
actually, they were, right?
Yes, I am only aware of this because, again, okay, let me be clear. Other than a few episodes of this and some of Monty Ohm's old web
now, see,
videos,
I remember Monty Ohm's old animation set to the Zone of the Enders 2 opening.
Right, or the one where like the Halo fights the Dead or Alive girl or something, right?
Yeah.
But the only other like point of reference I have for RWBY is again the ArcSys fighting game Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, in which the RWBY characters were in fact featured as part of the crossover. Yeah. And for each RWBY character that was featured in the game, they were accompanied by a vocal insert song.
Oh, okay.
That, to my understanding, each one was kind of considered like their vocal theme.
I see.
That like plays when they do cool stuff.
Got it.
I'm sure they'll have to carry that over in some form.
Right.
Like,
so I assume. Like that must it's the sort of thing of like, are we gonna have this anime where all these like girls are talking in Japanese and then suddenly you're gonna have like this English rock song kick in or something?
Honestly, that rules though.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fine. It's just I think it'll be
that'll be fun if they can pull it off. But
yeah,
as we may talk about later, music licensing can be a nightmare.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a feeling it's going to at least look good, I hope.
Sure, hopefully.
But, let's move along. All right, we're already going to start unpacking this one.
All right, well, now to talk about the other anime adaptation coming out this season that's going to have everybody tugging on their collar.
So
we can just...
we have the return of Made in Abyss.
You guys didn't have to make this show. It's fine. We
Made in Abyss. Made in Abyss, the Golden City of the Scorching Sun, or Season 2, if you will.
We are continuing the journey.
So just to refresh everybody, Made in Abyss Season 1 was very critically and commercially successful, from what I understand.
Yes.
I personally watched Season 1. I did not watch the movies, which
I didn't either.
I don't know how much that's going to change things.
Georgie and I put down our thesis.
As far as before we get just to finish kind of recapping what it is, it's a pretty unique fantasy setting type of thing about this girl and her robot buddy going to the bottom of this abyss, except the abyss is very dangerous and not a good place to be, and it can get very violent and intense, and I think for me personally, well, probably for a lot of people, it creeps all the way up to the line of
things
on one
that are
side,
acceptable to do to children.
Yeah, on one side it's
grade,
on the one side of the line is this very intense, emotionally compelling, story, and on the other side is torture porn, and it creeps about as close as you can possibly get to that line.
Yes.
In Season 1. And now we're well, I can't speak on the movies, but we are now facing season 2, and I know Iroh and G, having read the manga, at least in part.
I've not seen the movie, but I know precisely the events of the movie.
I know you have some thoughts about the upcoming.
I would say that the events covered in the movie are the show stepping up to and onto the line, and then ending in a place where I would be totally content and not going any further, because I think after those events, it continues stepping past the line.
Yes, I think in many ways the movie, which is covering important story events. And in fact, we'll probably need to make it clear here, in case for people who do not know, you will need to watch the movie to understand the events of season 2.
Yes, that's good to know.
The movie is not optional. This is not a Tiger and Bunny situation. The movie is explicitly required viewing.
It's like my worst nightmare.
No,
you have to watch the movie. Shit!
No, because here's the thing. The movie arguably covers
what should have been the end of season 1.
The crowning moment of Made in Abyss, thematically and narratively.
Right.
Like, the absolute...
The end of season 1, while very powerful, is like kind of like a random place to stop.
It ends on a, like, and so the adventure continues tone. Right. And...
yeah.
The movie is where that adventure continues toward. It is, in fact, extremely important, and it's... Like, I cannot overstate, like, as someone like Iro who used to, like, really adore Made in Abyss, the things the movie covers are extremely good and extremely important to the characters.
Yes. But also extremely upsetting.
Yes, extremely upsetting.
Yes.
Deeply disturbing.
Just also, like, yes, I continue to argue that, like, those events are the last time in Made in Abyss where it is upsetting in a way that's, like, genuinely in service to
it earns
the
it,
greater
yes. like
story beat.
The movie is, maybe the last time Made in Abyss just barely justifies its torture porn with, like, the new, like the pathos that it deserves. And so it's a very good thematic capstone to the story that is Made in Abyss. It is not the end, of course, right? I mean, we are getting season 2 here, but the final sort of confrontation with
Bondry.
The figure that Nanachi spoke of that made her who she is, they confront that individual in the film, and it's
Destiny Warlock ass dude.
Yes. Look, I mean, so here's the thing. We're talking about, if we want to talk about anime dads, we could tell you about maybe the worst anime dad in the history of fiction, and that is Bondry the White Whistle, who is maybe, like, legitimately the worst father figure, like, I have ever had the displeasure of reading in a piece of fiction.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: A, Bondry is a problem, but B, Bondry dresses very cool.
Yes.
It's just Made in Abyss. You go, wow, the visual design in this is really incredible. Oh, don't do that with that.
Yeah.
And so, that's a movie aside. I think the reason there's a lot of trepidation from Iro and I about Season 2 is because Season 2 is going to be tasked with the very unenviable task of, well, after that really amazing, memorable climax, where the hell do we go from here?
Right.
And the show's answer is going to be... I will admit, there are aspects of this next season that, when I read in the manga, actually deeply fascinated me. It is that thing that reminds you that, like, even at his, like, you know, at his worst, Tsukushi, the original writer of Made in Abyss, is a very interesting world builder. Mm-hmm. He has a really strong knack for interesting imagery and narrative, and I think when he earns it, he's very good at deploying upsetting imagery in the right places. And there's aspects of that you will still see in Season 2, but I think in a lot of ways Season 2 is sort of where that ratio gets unbalanced, where it starts just becoming like, I don't want to say masturbatory, but like
I start asking like, what was the point of this one? Right?
Yeah. It starts getting like egregious in a way that like feels less like it's narratively appropriate and more like he just wanted to watch like
horrible things happen.
Horrible physical trauma inflicted on children.
Right. Some like shock, just pure shock value, right?
Yeah,
like,
just like, hey, do you want to like see the ways in which we can just like bend and break this child's body?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
Here we go.
So I can assume then that we're not going to kind of be like, well, and they lived happily ever after.
I mean,
all right. Well,
no.
I guess.
And yet, I'm still interested in it because I don't know. It's Made in Abyss is such an interesting like work.
It is
like,
unique.
There is really nothing else like it. I mean, the most recent chapter of the manga.
Oh yeah, that was a good chapter.
Like, was legitimately a great chapter. Yeah.
But also that chapter was good because it was like, let's go see what. Yeah, it was standalone. Yeah. Let's go see what people who aren't suffering at the bottom of the abyss are up to.
Right. Yes. So yeah, it's a tough thing of like. I don't know. It's hard to recommend, or it's not that it's hard to recommend, but it's more like. I guess it really depends on what you came to Made in Abyss for. Is going to heavily tilt whether season 2 is for you or not. And I think that if you are still not sure, I would recommend to watch the movie and then sort of check your feelings at the door at the end of the movie and be like, well, how did I feel about what I just watched? And if you think that was enough trauma inflicted on you, then congratulations, you've hit, just like the Abyss. Many explorers of the Abyss decide that they do not go down to the bottom, right? Every Abyss dweller decides what is their limit.
Right.
And
you can only go so far. Yeah.
You, the viewer, will get to decide that after watching the movie.
All right. Well, I guess the main takeaway is if you're planning on watching this, watch the movie. That's you have to do that. Which I do think it's on streaming somewhere. Whether I don't remember if it's on Crunchyroll or High Dive.
Might be on Sentai, on High Dive, yeah.
Yeah, because I think High Dive has it for some reason, but
okay, weird, sure.
Yeah, I think even season 1, I think your tolerance is going to be if you're not ready to see some really upsetting things, you should just not watch. Just skip the series altogether. Like it's a good series, but if you're not like ready to emotionally handle that, or
I mean, I would say like because the thing is, it is both a physical and an emotional thing, right? Because like there are moments that are like not upsetting because of the grotesque imagery, but for example, when like Reg euthanizes Mitty with the hyper beam at the end of season 1, it's like if emotionally that is all you can handle, then I would not recommend going further.
Yeah, and I know for me personally, I'm like at a point right now where I don't want to see suffering on screen that much right now. So we'll see. I'll definitely look into at least watching the movie. And
there's also the unfortunate thing of like depending on how the season goes, Made in Abyss might be one of the only things that like.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
keeping an eye on.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. But, all right, let's move along. I wanted to give a shout out to Kakegurui Twin.
Okay,
which is
not
coming out
making more Kakegurui
in Netflix.
It's
hell.
not. It is and it's not.
Yeah. So this is based off of the like prequel spin-off manga.
I see.
Which is focused on Mary, who I don't think is a good choice to make your main character.
Oh, Mary.
She's become like a fan favorite, though, I think.
Yeah. Yes, Mary married. Yeah. Old Netflix subtitle joke, but yeah. So this is like before the main character Yumiko shows up at the crazy gambling school, and how it's like more of Mary's story, how she. Got mixed up in all of this. For me, I feel like Mary is like, if there are any characters that can be described as the sensible one in Kakegurui, she she might be the closest thing to that. So I don't know if that's what I want from a series with this. But
right, because I mean, every time you talked about Kakegurui on the podcast, it was always like, here's this ridiculous gambling game they're playing.
And I do
this
think there
week.
are still some ridiculous gambling games, but I don't know if the tone's going to be different or whatever.
Sure.
We'll have to see. It's just watching the PV, something feels slightly off to me. I don't know if it's like a different staff or whatever, but who knows? Maybe it'll still be fun.
It might still be the same old anime trash you remember.
Yes.
I'm coming to this anime for trash. If it does not deliver trash, I will be disappointed.
Yes.
Exactly.
This is a case where we want it to be anime trash.
Right.
Exactly.
So we'll see. I also just wanted to give a shout out on Peter's behalf for Shadow's House season 2, which is happening.
I remember them saying that the staff did not expect that this show would get season 2.
It did. Apparently, it did pretty well. But yes,
well, good for them then.
As a refresher, this is like the gothic horror slice of life show.
Right, people have like shadow copies of themselves.
Yeah, where these rich people have shadow versions of themselves as servants, and like the main girl befriends her shadow friend, and it's both fun and lighthearted and very creepy at the same time. I did like the episode or two I watched. I just never. It was in whatever.
That was like the jam-packed season, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one season, like, was it 2 or 3 seasons ago now? That was just like so many good shows, and I just did not have time to watch it. But shout out to Shadow's House. So.
Okay.
All right.
Well, with all the sequels out of the way,
out with the old and with the new.
Oh yes,
yeah,
all the
those
new
are
shows.
Those are all the sequels. Yep, there are no more sequels. Let's go.
Lots of yes. Every show in the next upcoming year is definitely new. It has not been around for over a decade. Decades.
Let's talk about new anime happening.
Yes.
So let's start with Yurei Deco. This is the new Science Saru project.
Yes. I feel like that alone is enough to
I mean, I'll be honest, I was not even aware Science Saru was working on something new other than what was his movie? Inu-Oh, that's the Yuasa like movie. Yeah.
So whether this does not involve Yuasa, correct?
So I was gonna say I assume that Yuasa's not involved with this.
But
is at least what's her name involved?
No, this is directed by
oh, wait then.
By Tomohisa Shimoyama.
Okay.
Who has worked on Doraemon, and Devilman Crybaby, and
so a Science Saru.
Space Dandy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So whether it involves Yuasa or not, their works are always very at the very least interesting, right? Like,
true. Yes.
They pick interesting material. They usually have very distinct weird art styles or something, right?
My understanding is this is based on Huckleberry Finn.
What?
Yeah, it's a
very broadly.
Okay, I would say broadly. Okay.
That's a very loose.
Sure. So what's the actual premise then? Like, is it?
So it's like a VR hackers type of VR world type of thing.
Damn, they're trying to. Everyone's trying to step on Hosoda's turf these days, huh?
Civil Wars, yeah.
Yeah, and it does have a very sort of very colorful, distinct,
sure,
weird out there art style. I don't really know if there's a whole lot more that we know about it that makes sense from reading the description, other than this girl basically
it's investigating ghosts.
Yeah, they're looking for ghosts or something in the VR world or whatever.
Ghosts in the machine, you might say?
Yeah, perhaps. And, it's very visually interesting. And, it's the kind of thing where until, I guess, we get, until we actually see it, we're probably not really going to make any kind of...
Oh, wait, no. Guys, you really buried the lead here. Series composition.
Yep. Dai Sato. I was about to bring it up, man.
Dai Sato of listeners' fame.
So, like, on one hand, Dai Sato I don't think he's a particularly great writer and such. The other person listed for scripts is Kimiko Ueno, who wrote some of the best episodes of Space Dandy, Carol Tuesday, BNA, Little Witch Academia.
Oh, the good writer, yes.
Yes. The writer who wrote all the really funny episodes of those shows.
Now then the problem is, which of the two is...
Right. Yeah.
Dai Sato's the one who's credited for main scriptwriter, right? So.
The PV for this looks a lot more like kind of lighthearted and fun than even listeners, really. Like it doesn't look like it's taking itself too seriously, at least
don't
based
bring
on the PV.
that title into this podcast.
Yeah. So maybe it'll be fun and look cool. And
maybe this will be another show where we really like the Kimiko Ueno episodes.
Or yes, there'll be like 2 or 3 very specific episodes written by that writer that are good, and the rest of it'll be trash. So
that's what I'm betting on.
Oof.
Yeah.
At minimum, at Science Star, it'll look good. Right.
Yeah, the PV looks like it's very visually interesting and cool to look at.
I don't know, man. I'm just over here being like, where's Eizouken Season 2?
I don't know.
Good, huh?
We want more kind of money.
Yes, I don't know.
We need her to drop us more wisdom.
That does kind of raise an interesting question with Science Saru being around for a while now. How many actual good shows have they made?
I mean, so again, this is one of those things where then you need to make the distinction between Science Saru and Yuasa, right?
Okay.
Please do make that distinction, because I like one and not the other.
Okay.
Which one? You'll have to tune it. No, I don't know. Yeah. I have mixed feelings.
Look, we all know Japan Sinks fucking sucked.
Yes.
Thank you.
That,
thank
you. Yuasa's name was attached to that. So
I know, and ever since then, his name has been irreparably tarnished.
How did he make the
mind.
best show and the worst show of that year? Who knows?
Yeah. Although, Artemis, you never did watch Eizouken, right?
No, I did watch the first couple episodes. I only stopped because I just didn't have time at that point. I did mean to keep watching. I just never quite got around to it.
Yeah, because that show was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move along to the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting.
Okay.
Speaking of dad anime,
Hinamatsuri?
yes, apparently.
I was like, Joe, season 2 of Hinamatsuri, you should have said something sooner.
Yeah, the premise on paper is vaguely similar to Hinamatsuri in that there is a Yakuza dude who is charged with babysitting a little girl. Specifically, it's a little bit different because this dude actually is apparently a actual Yakuza killer guy, and not a fraud like the dude in Hinamatsuri. But and he is tasked with babysitting his boss's daughter, who does not have psychic powers. So,
sure.
So yeah,
I thought it sounded more like the anime that we all deserve from Way of the House Husband.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're kind of going more in that direction, right?
Yeah, it sounded like it.
Yeah. So yeah, Yakuza dad anime. That's kind of what we're going for here, which sure. My only first of all, I do want to mention, you bring it up, it is the same studio as
Wait, really?
It is Field,
oh,
yes.
Oh, man.
But they're also working with Gaina, which is Gainax with missing an X.
Wait, are you for real?
Fukushima Gainax, right?
Wait.
Formerly
yes,
Fukushima
which is now
Gainax.
Yes, which is now known as just Gaina, which is
Look,
Gainax
if
with
Kanye
X.
West can change his name to Ye, then Gainax can surely just say Gaina.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm not doing a bit here. I had no idea that Gainax created a fake Gainax with the X taken off of the end.
So I don't remember all the details exactly. Ira, you might remember more than me. But in
goodness.
the midst of their myriad of legal and financial troubles, they had to like create a separate Gainax, which was
Fukushima
Gainax. And that Fukushima Gainax, which is now entirely independent of original Gainax.
Yes, it was bought out by a different company several years ago.
Yes. So they're a completely different company now. They chose to rename themselves just Gaina, which is Gainax without the X at the end.
Yep.
And they are the supporting co-studio with Feel on this anime. Right. If they are even capable of making anime, I don't know. I thought Gainax grew tomatoes now, but
I think that was main Gainax and not Fukushima Gainax.
Who knows?
Man.
But I can't keep track of it all. But
I was other than that, I was about to do a bit about how all these like Yakuza dad anime are just trying to like fruitlessly live up to the standards set by one Kiryu Kazuma, the Dragon of Dojima. But then the longer I thought about it, the more I realized that maybe Kiryu is a bit of a Goku situation in which Kiryu is neither really a good dad or a good Yakuza.
right,
Like,
True.
that is true.
like he has a good heart. His intentions
We love
are
Kiryu,
there.
but is he a
We
good
love
dad?
Kiryu,
Or yes,
But I don't know if you could call a man whose child ward has been kidnapped no less than once per game entry
yeah,
a good dad.
yeah.
Now, I do believe Gaina is the one who's maintaining, we swear, but everybody, we're doing Blue Uru and
They
Gunbuster
really
3.
Yes,
They're
yes,
really
they are the
doing that
ones that
shit?
have
Oh,
their name
man.
attached to Gunbuster 3. So
God, just let it die.
Just let it
please.
go.
Just let it. Yes, let
Yeah.
go, guys.
anyway, back to the Yakuza babysitting thing here. The concept is fine. Sure, sign me up for a dad anime with Yakuza dudes, but I don't know. Like watching the PV, it's like almost seems too like sentimental and serious to me. Like
Oh yeah,
You
like
want
they're
some,
actually
like,
taking it way
comedy?
too serious.
You want some
yeah, like or like
dirtbag
it's still
comedy?
yeah, like I feel like this would work better, as I often do, as a dirtbag comedy thing, right? Like Hinamatsuri or something like that. And it feels like this is like they're taking it maybe a little too seriously. But you know, I'm basing that off of a minute and a half video or whatever.
Also, I don't know if I can believe if this guy here is the Yakuza dad that I'm looking at in this PV. This dude's no demon. Like this is a dude Kiryu would beat up in a random side quest, like with like zero effort. Like
dude like pretending to be a Yakuza or something.
Yeah,
right? And then
like
he gets,
Hoodlum
yeah.
from Akadama Drive.
this guy's not even 7 feet tall. Like
Is this like oh god, what was that? There was a show like a year or two ago where there was like a bunch of dudes who were supposed to be like a street gang, and they were like,
oh my god,
Ikebukuro Westgate Park.
yes, Westgate
Yes.
Park, the one that was like don't do drugs.
Hirabukuro City.
they were supposed to be like hardcore gangsters, and they're like, don't do drugs,
like
and the cops are our friends.
gangsters who are
Yes.
friends with cops.
Maybe it's that kind of situation. I don't know, but
Or maybe
Anyway.
it's more like Skate. You know what I mean? Like, those skaters are making trouble. The cops sure are on those skaters' asses trying to get
We
him.
can't.
Let's skaters. Oh,
Another
Yeah.
show we cannot dredge up again.
so anyway, I feel like basically all of these next like 5 shows I'm going to talk about are shows that have I put them on the list because they have what sounds like a potentially good premise, but they're probably going to be bad. So
okay. Yeah.
that's probably I'm gonna guess that at most this will be boring. So
Yep.
let's just move on.
Yep. Club me over the head.
Let's talk about Uncle from Another World.
Yeah.
So, okay, again, I kind of like this premise.
Uh-huh.
So this is about a dude who goes into a coma and gets isekai'd
Yep.
when he's a teenager, and he's isekai'd for 17 years.
Uh-huh.
And the show picks up
Yep.
with him waking up after he's been isekai'd and returning to the real world.
Yes.
And now he's just a sad 30-something-year-old man who his nephew has to take care of.
Yep.
And I think that could be a good concept for a comedy.
So I have
read, or a parody.
I have read some
of a certain series
manga of this back a few years ago when I did that big Isekai post. I read some of this.
And you're going to tell us that it's terrible.
How do you feel about a lot of jokes about the Mega Drive versus Super Nintendo console war?
Oh, they're going that route.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's a lot of he wakes up and he's like, "Wow, I heard the Sega Saturn was coming out. We should buy a Sega Saturn so I could play all of my favorite Sega Saturn games."
Well,
fuck that Nintendo, right?
That's not the worst direction.
And
that
then
this could have gone in.
Tells stories about the hot elf ladies he met or whatever.
Right.
And
okay, that's more the worst direction.
It looked the PV looked very just kind of dialogue driven, but I don't know if the whole story's like that or if it was just like a scene.
Yeah, I mean, is there a lot of flashing back to the? Is there a lot of like flashing back to his hot elf harem or something? Like,
I think I don't know. I feel like the joke was mostly that like they all were like, "You're so ugly."
Oh, right, because he is not drawn as your
or it's
traditional...
like there's also I think there was also jokes of like because he was Isekai before everybody knew what Isekai was, he like obliviously stumbles past all the Isekai tropes and doesn't know how to deal with them.
A true pioneer in the industry, right?
Right. He'll be like, "I don't know why this elf was doing this stuff," and then his nephew's like, "Well, based on obvious Isekai tropes, she was trying to get in your pants." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. That's ridiculous."
Right. That's funny. Well, it sounds funny.
I feel like this would be a good premise if they went all the way and made it into like a true parody.
Right.
But it doesn't sound like it's going to go that far.
Yeah, it might not.
Probably way closer to the like, let's say it's a joke. By
just like reference jokes, right?
Yeah.
Like, just it's hey guys, you remember this thing? Isn't that funny? Like that kind of joke.
Reference jokes are fine, but they can't make up the whole entire series.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is if they go in too hard on that, where that's just every joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'll give it an episode.
It's probably better than other Isekai that are not on this list.
Yes.
And there are plenty this season that I saw from the anime list.
Yes, the many actually bad actual Isekai shows that we cut up from this list are, I'm sure, much worse.
Yeah.
All right. Let me before anyone looks at the art for this, let me explain the premise of Engage Kiss and how it sounds cool, and then you can look at the art. So the idea, the premise behind this is that mankind has found some kind of new energy resource or something, but mining it has unleashed demons.
Oh man, it's like Dimension W, like.
And so they have to they hire a bunch of private military companies to fight the demons, and the main dude has his small struggling PMC and he's totally broke.
Hey, so why is this titled Engage Kiss?
He runs this with his ex-girlfriend, some demon girl with a sword, and a nun named Sharon Holy Grail.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, this all sounds good.
Do they have to kiss him to power up to fight the demons?
No, we haven't, at least not that we've seen so far. But then I looked at like the art and stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's very cute. The demon girl with the sword looks like she's 12. And
because of course
this is just standard shit at this point.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, it is A1 Pictures, and like as far as like the animation and like what I'm seeing in the PV, I get some like Tact Opus Destiny vibes from
I'm reading this is totally related to the Engage Kill smartphone game by Square Enix, so just like Tact Opus Destiny, this is totally trying to shill a gacha game.
So I think that's the energy they're going for.
Tact Opus wasn't that bad.
And that show was all right.
Is this an itchy show?
don't know if
don't
it's
think
overtly, but
I don't think it's being billed as that. No. I think they are trying to go the Tact Opus Destiny route. I just don't like the art.
They still want to sell you on like pretty anime ladies, right?
Yeah.
Like it's still a core element of this, clearly, based on this.
But looking at the art style that I've only just looked up, it looks like the core element, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm watching this preview, and it's like, here's girl A. Let's show her in a vaguely suggestive position. Here's girl B. Let's show her in a vaguely suggestive position. Here's girl C. Oh, I gotta fight demons by kissing. I think they might transform by kissing him.
Probably. That would make sense. So anyway, I don't. We could only hope that this would be anywhere near as good as Tact Opus Destiny, a show that is like a 6 or 7 out of 10. So
6 or 7 out of 10 with like 8 or 9 out of 10 action scenes sometimes.
Right. That occasionally bumps itself up to that level.
But Tact Opus Destiny was only a 6 or a 7 out of 10 because we had like a casino.
Right.
And we had like...
Get your guns.
Like, like we had an American diner and you know, like that's why, like without those, it would have been a 5. Come on.
Exactly. No,
that's
I completely agree.
Yep.
Fake Anime America is always a hoot.
Yes. That did carry a lot of weight in that series. That and their complete disregard for the protagonist.
Yes.
But
right. A dude sucked so hard that he fucking died at the end. And I was like, good. Get this guy out of here.
Yeah. So, anyway. We'll see how that one goes.
Uh-huh.
All right. Let's talk about Extreme Hearts.
Extreme.
So this is a show about girls playing sports, and they're regular sports, but they have special gear that basically gives them superpowers.
Okay, all right. Okay.
And I'm like, I'm like, okay, sure. You know, superpower sports anime. Maybe this will be the Birdie Wing of summer 2022. And then again, you look at the art, and you realize this is by all the staff of Magical Girl Lyrical Nanoha and Dog Days.
This looks moe as fuck, and not in a good. I'm not using that as a compliment.
Right. Yes. I would say Nanoha. It's not necessarily a negative indicator, based on my understanding of Nanoha. But my understanding of Nanoha is mostly like they put gun magazines into their magic staffs and pull the trigger 3 times to juice up the staff with enough magic to shoot a big laser beam.
Yeah, for me personally, the good does not outweigh the bad on Nanoha.
Okay, I wouldn't know. I've only seen a movie.
Yeah. No. If you can cherry pick some cool things out of Nanoha for sure. Like that's true. I don't personally think on balance that it's very good, but
Gotcha.
and because Nanoha is very specifically trying to pull from like Super Sentai and like that kind of things, right? But
shonen
and right. So I don't know, and regardless of whatever this team works on, all the characters look the same. Like they have the very extremely cute, huge-eyed little girls, which is not really working for me either.
I see that they are also idols in this show.
I think there is some element to that, yes.
Not only are they every sports team ever, they're also idols.
Right. So so my hopes are not high that this is going to be the Birdie Wing of summer 2022.
Just because I am enjoying Birdie Wing doesn't mean I'll enjoy just any old show where some anime girl does sport.
Some ridiculous
right? It's like it's
take
not
on sports.
It's not the anime girl does sport that I like about Birdie Wing. It's
right.
The degree of silliness involved, the spectacle.
Right. So, that said, I guess Nanaha is still a thing. I was curious about that. They're still doing that.
Still trucking.
I'm kind of wondering what I was curious what this team has been doing, and they've basically been like alternating Nanaha and Dog Days since like.
Is Dog Days still going
or something?
On? Like,
I don't know if they've done anything on that recently, but I'm just saying within the past 15 years, that's basically what they've been doing.
I guess it's a gig.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Okay. Time to club me over the head.
It's time.
Strap me down. Just bring in the power drill.
One.
It's time for us to talk about the Lucifer and Biscuit Hammer.
If I had $1, Iro, every time, like if you just Control F'd the Discord chat,
not wrong,
and wrote in Biscuit Hammer. In fact, even if you just scrolled through the podcast and listened up for Biscuit Hammer, I'm sure I would be a very rich woman.
I'm sure, yeah.
Very rich woman.
In some ways, we are known for being fans here at the GLORIO of Lucifer and Biscuit Hammer.
I think we literally got a comment somewhere that was like, I don't know anything about Biscuit Hammer, but I know that those folks over at GLORIO are probably excited right now.
Yeah, I mean, Iro, you literally have the Swordfish Knight as your profile picture.
I have single-handedly willed the show into existence, and my will was not powerful enough.
So
you
I gotta
have
say,
completed the ritual.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Artemis.
like if you, Iro, had not mentioned this anime manga, specifically so many times, it would not even be on my watch list because I read the premise and I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yep. Can't argue with that.
We actually did talk about this a little bit on the podcast when the announcement got made like a couple months ago. But again, to kind of refresh everybody's memories. Lyra, why don't you describe what Lucifer and Biscuit Hammer is?
Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer is a manga by Satoshi Mizukami, who you may or may not know from Sengoku Yoko, Spirit Circle, which is all on Crunchyroll manga. And a few years ago, he was in charge of Planet With, which I think is a very good show. Maybe it was not necessarily huge.
While Planet With is perhaps not perfect, I would say that it gives you an idea of the tone, maybe, of his rating. Right? And the
Biscuit Hammer premise sounds very standard, and in some ways it is very standard. A college student wakes up, and there's a talking lizard on his bed, and it tells him he needs to join up with the other Beast Knights to stop the evil wizard from destroying the world. And he says, what the fuck is this? And throws the lizard out the window. And of course eventually joins up with the rest of the Beast Knights so they can fight the evil wizard and save the world. In some ways, very simple premise, I think. But I think Mizukami's strength, which in all of his works is the way in which his storytelling and characters feel very earnest to me. A lot of characters show up in this story, and each one gets a bit of focus time, and I think all of them feel very grounded, sort of. There is some, of course, anime melodrama, but in general, the character writing of the stuff.
Even though there's some kind of wild magical space things happening, the characters themselves feel very kind of real,
and are
right?
Dealing with
relatable,
very human problems that are just being exacerbated or drawn out by the Earth being in peril.
Right.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this last time. A lot of people kind of think about it as a sort of spiritual relative to Fooly Cooly, right?
I do, at least.
I've heard a lot of people make that connection because people's brains automatically go there because a lot of the names are.
Hammer has a number of pillows references.
Right. I mean, in a lot of ways, the old joke was that that Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer was the alternate alternate universe Gainax like
yeah.
manga that never happened, right?
Yes, there's that persistent rumor that they tried to get a Gainax adaptation and then it fell through and the money went to a penny stocking. I don't know how true that rumor is.
But I mean, we always say like this if this anime happened, it should have been directed by Kazuya Tsurumaki, right? Like,
yeah,
yes.
Biscuit Hammer is a pillow song. Like,
yes, it fits that. It fits that
anyway,
style.
this is all is to
perfectly,
say,
but yes.
I have zero faith in Studio Naz and the staff of this anime to do it justice.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess that's really what we're getting at here is like,
I will gladly watch this show. I will not, probably not.
Like, it can't be overstated. Like, we are talking about a work that is sort of like foundational to the spirit of what the GLORIO blog was created around. Like, Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer is as GLORIO core as it gets. Right?
Right.
It is. If there's any like one like piece of fiction that this blog was created to try to like sing the good graces of and bring to the world.
I was writing about this thing
Lucifer,
on like Japan Tour community blogs, right? Like,
yeah, it was this one, right? Like, this is the show. This is the manga that, like, was so good that it drove people at this, at this on this podcast to talk about it on the internet.
Right. Yep.
Like, it was so special that you could not simply sit with it in your heart and live the rest of your life that way. It had to be shared, and. So, I think a lot of people who are looking at this from the outside are like, wait, what? It's just like some shonen heroes fighting, like, monsters? Like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is, like...
Yeah.
This was something very special to
it is...
it was what I needed to read at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much a, like, adult coming-of-age story. By that, I mean, it's not like a high school kid, right? It's like actual,
it is definitely
actually becoming an adult.
Post-high school kid,
right.
one might say.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that, like, but yeah, and in a lot of ways, yes, it's that earnestness that always won us over in the end. And all of Mizukami's works, right? But I think Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer is sort of the most emblematic of Mizukami's strength as a writer, right? His ability to bring together an ensemble cast of, like, broad but likable archetypes who sort of communicate their likability through how sincere they feel, right? Like, and that's such a unique property. And I like with Arrow, I don't think this is not the staff to do. This is not this is not who we would have picked, right?
Deserves better. I'm sure
when we talked about we would have loved, Gainax circa 2000 with Kazuya Tsurumaki directing, doing this. Even if you didn't get that, I mean, there are people who at least try to do like an imitation of that. Like that mood, I feel like has to happen for this to work. And
I have low expectations.
When you see the PV, it's like the most generic anime. Okay, the biggest travesty of the PV is not the art is very generic and boring and whatever, but I could probably live with that if they at least got the music.
No pillows.
If they got, even if they didn't get the pillows, get somebody to make some like
who sounds kind of like the pillows,
generic, even if it was just like generic 90s rock in the background. But they picked the most bland
anime, vaguely
orchestral
shit that goes in one ear and out the other.
And it's like that thing that like kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
Because like, so this tangent will make sense in the end, I promise. But I was playing a demo from a demo of a game that's currently on the like Steam Next Fest thing, right? Which is where they release demos of upcoming games, usually indie games, right? And one of them is this game called Unbeatable, right? It's like this anime style like rock rhythm game, right? And it's kind of about like a listless young woman in a small town, right? And they are very clearly aping Fooly Cooley. Like they're going for the entire vibe, right? Sleepy town, listless teens, that sort of like melancholy, right? And the thing that I think the game does really successfully that makes it work is that the soundtrack totally sounds like 90s, early 2000s alternative like garage rock, right?
Right.
And the thing that like stuck out to me is like, oh, like again, I don't know if this game's actually going to be good. I just played the demo, but like the music at least tells me that these are people who understand what worked about Fooly Cooly. Like it's not just like, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 disparate elements, right? It is like you have to make it sound like this, right? And so the fact that Lucifer the Biscuit Hammer anime can't even do that, right? Like, look, I get it. You're not going to get the blue hearts or the pillows for this low budget production, but you could have got. I guarantee you there is at least half a dozen bands currently active in Japan who can sound sort of like this. Right?
Hire me, I can do some 90s rock riffs. It's not hard. It's the easiest. It's the easiest decade of music to copy.
Anyway,
let's like if I like you could have, and it wouldn't even have to be like great. Just getting that sound
just
in the background feels like would be so important.
Yeah.
My other big worry here is that though they've said they will do the whole story.
Will they?
Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer is a 65 chapter monthly manga, and I don't know that you can cram that into 2 cours of episodes.
I don't think you could.
Yeah, I don't think you could.
Not
so they're
going
to either have to. It's either going to be a lot longer than we think it's
3
going
cours.
To be,
I think it's fine. I think would be fine. I think, but like, I don't know how this is gonna work, man.
I mean, I think you do know how it's gonna work.
You're right.
Badly.
Oof. You know, I'd love to eat crow.
No, believe me, if we come out the other end going, wow, I can't believe they actually pulled it off. I think we'd all be very happy, right? I mean, this is our white whale. This is the GLORIO white whale. Like, if this actually lived up to expectations, we could close the blog. We could end it. Like, we're never doing better than this.
That's how we go out.
It won't be good. I don't know.
But is there still any hope that they at least get like a good OP or something?
The cast seems good. That's all I got, dude. It's also like,
I don't know.
Also, just I love Biscuit Hammer. Even the original manga doesn't really get really good until a third in. It moves kind of slowly until the whole ensemble just drops on your head.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's good from the start.
Yeah, I do think it's good from the start. I think it doesn't really shine until the dynamics can bounce off each other.
I feel like for the anime, that's probably the least of my concerns. But
yes, but hey, it finally happened. I can say it happened.
Yeah, you know it.
Hooray!
You know, look, I'll just tell you this as the person on this podcast who is usually the guy who is getting his white whale manga adapted. I'll just say that look, it can. It's gonna hurt, and. You know, there's going to be some restless nights.
It's only going to get worse before it gets better.
Yes, but...
well...
You know...
All right.
Read Biscuit Hammer.
Yes, that's all you can really do, is shout from the mountains, shout from the rooftops, is that please read the source material of this bad anime.
The manga is available in many different places, I think, at this point.
Yep.
So, go check that out. And, you know... Maybe they had to slap together that PV real quick, and let's just accept our fate.
Let's just hope we're wrong. Let's just hope we're wrong.
Yes. All right. Let's talk about Fuuto PI, which is
a sequel
PI for Private Investigator.
Oh, that's all right. I was reading this as Fuuto PI.
I didn't capitalize the I in the notes. I'll fix that before this goes up.
My brain also reads as Fuuto PI. So this is
Ira. Why don't you tell us about this one?
This is an adaptation of the manga sequel to Kamen Rider Double. I have not seen Kamen Rider Double, but it is one of the, at least among the people I know who have, similar tastes to mine when it comes to tokusatsu, is one of the higher regarded Kamen Riders.
So, it's a sequel to the manga, which was
the manga is a sequel
to
TV
series?
The manga is a sequel to the live action show, and this is adapting the manga.
Oh, okay, it's adapting the manga. Got it.
Yes.
All right.
And
this is part of like a 50th anniversary thing or something?
I think so. Double.
This is interesting, right? Because
popular. Go ahead.
Like, is this like the first time a Kamen Rider has gotten adapted into anime?
I don't think it's the first time. I think there was something in prior to in the 1900s.
Sure.
Back in the 20th century.
Yeah,
don't call it the 1900s. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But the manga and I believe this show are being written by the original writer of Double.
Sure.
So
okay.
it's okay. Actually, the writer of the show is not the same writer, but the writer of Kamen Rider Double did write the manga, Fuuto PI.
And when did Double happen? How old is that?
Oh, geez. Like 2009.
Okay.
Um,
So, not too long ago compared to in the grand history of Kamen Rider.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. My
So
understanding. Go ahead.
Is the hook of this thing like they're like detectives? Is that?
Yeah, they're detectives in like the Windy City, which is not Chicago, but
I was gonna say, wait,
it
Chicago?
it's some like wind powered city, which effectively means it's Tokyo, but we photoshopped in a bunch of windmills into the back of every shot.
Sure.
They fight monsters with little USB sticks called Gaia Memories.
Okay. That sounds very Kamen Rider, but
Yep.
yes.
It's called Double because two guys fuse into one Kamen Rider.
Okay.
And that's about the extent of my knowledge of Kamen
so
Rider
I guess
Double.
that's the thing, right? I guess this is primarily for fans of the original.
Yes.
Like, is there going to be enough meat here for people who never watched Double?
Good question.
Because, like, if it's a sequel, if it is explicitly a sequel, it's kind of that question then of, your sequel that is also a different medium.
Right.
It's like,
My
I don't know,
understanding is that it's kind of just like, here's more wacky adventures with your friends.
sure, that can be fine too.
Riku Sanjo, the writer of Kamen Rider Double and Fuuto PI, does have a lot of manga experience.
Okay.
Okay.
He wrote noted noted manga Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai
Oh.
back in the 80s and 90s.
Sure.
Okay.
Some people are a fan of that anime.
I hear it's good. But he wrote noted Sentai Kyoryuger, which is very popular among the GLORIO blog as well.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know. I don't have reason to expect this will be a barn burner or terrible, but I don't know.
Are you going to try to watch Double before this comes
Oh
out?
no, sorry. I'll check this show out. Like,
Weirdly enough, it was on my radar too, and I've never seen a single episode of any iteration of Kamen Rider, so good luck to me.
You know what? I'll be interesting to see how that goes, actually.
You got these little anime losers, and they combine into Kamen Rider and fight monsters. I don't know. My understanding is none of the original cast will be voicing their characters.
Well,
So, which of course,
I won't know any better.
Of course they wouldn't. But
Yeah.
very silly. Yeah. I think
All right.
probably be fun.
Well, let's wrap this up with talking about Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which
edges
anime-
into the summer season.
thank you.
programming note on that.
Yeah.
It is being listed as coming out in September, and since this is a Netflix thing, not necessarily beholden to anime scheduling.
September is not summer, all right? Like, let's be clear. I know
the summer anime season is July, August, and September. That's how the summer anime season works.
That's insane. The only reason this is on the list here is because it wouldn't fit in the next season's preview podcast.
So we might as well talk about it now.
We'll talk about it now and then not say a goddamn word for about 10 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess time for me to step up.
Baby.
This is the newest anime coming out of Studio Trigger of Kill la Kill and Inferno Cop fame. It is an adaptation of the the hit 2020 video game that is in and of itself an adaptation of the 1988 tabletop role-playing RPG.
Yeah.
So
worth pointing out, this is being billed as an original story, so it's not like they're copying the Cyberpunk 2077
Thankfully
game.
so.
Thankfully.
Yes. Thankfully.
But it is set in the same Night City setting.
Yes. So, in a lot of ways, it kind of is maybe more helpful to just look at this as Trigger is doing a Cyberpunk anime.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the sense of the genre, not in the sense of the property. Because, well, yes, I mean, you're right. Yes, there are definitely, based on the latest PV we've watched, it is actually fairly obvious that they are actually adapting a lot of things from the game. But I kind of meant more thematically in the sense that, it does not appear like this anime is going to necessarily feel that beholden to, the plot of the video game.
I'm assuming you're not going to run into the ghost of Keanu Reeves at any point.
Right. So, though, however, my understanding is the story of this anime was written by an in-house CD Projekt Red dude, and then they handed the story concepts and stuff over to Trigger and said, make this story.
And so I think the question here, is for better or worse, how much of this anime is a Trigger production versus a CD Projekt Red production, right? Yeah. We've finally seen some footage of it, and hey, guess what? It looks like an Amaishi production with money, right?
Yeah.
It's being directed by Mr. Mox
Sex and Violence and Mox Speed.
Yes, Mr. Sex, Violence, and Mox Speed himself, Hiroyuki Amaishi, director.
Which could have been
the
subtitle for Sex, Violence, and Mox Speed could have been the subtitle for Cyberpunk 2077. So that's appropriate.
Yes. And so we have him as director. We have Yo Yoshinari, of course, Mr. End of Eva. Asuka fights the mass-produced angels. Fight Yo Yoshinari as chief animation director
and character designer.
Yeah, we got Akira Yamaoka doing the music, which
God, right?
Yeah, God. Mr. Silent Hill
weird
himself.
Get.
Yeah, so it's so in terms of just the staff behind it, it's kind of exciting, right? There's some real talent behind this, right? But I think the question that, of course, and the ultimate caveat is how much freedom do they give Trigger, right? Because I think
we are here because we like Trigger's house style of everything that they do.
Yeah. We're not really here because we're fans of the game,
Yeah. Right.
So
I played that game. I didn't think it was particularly good.
I also played that game and stopped playing it, so that probably tells you something. But that is the question, because you said the actual basis of this is something written by somebody from CD Projekt Red, right? So
there's somebody credited for original story, and then the Trigger script guys are credited for adapted story.
Yeah, and I don't have a ton of experience with their games, but what I've played so far, I have not been a huge fan. So we'll have to, I guess, see how that goes. But the trailer does look pretty cool.
Yeah,
visually looks great.
You give Amaishi nothing, and he'll give you Inferno Cop and episode 4 of Kill la Kill. But if you give Amaishi money, he can move heaven and earth.
Yeah. And I think that just Cyberpunk in general fits their style very well, too. I just, I don't know. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. So
it's
whenever it finally makes its way out.
Yeah. Again, it's that thing of I think we're all probably gonna keep an eye on it, of course, because look, it's, if nothing else, right, it'll probably be fairly visually impressive.
Oh yeah.
But I think as of the last few years, the way Trigger has developed as a studio, in a lot of ways, Cyberpunk became their least interesting project.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, in a way, we were kind of wondering if it was ever still even going to happen, right?
Right.
They announced this a very long time ago. So, I guess glad that they
in a post Dynazenon world, in a post Promare world.
Check back in 2 weeks when their Anime Expo panel where they announce their new works will happen.
Exactly.
Right.
But yes, man.
Yeah, do they have? I guess we don't know of anything they have presently.
No, they.
Going.
I have looked at the Anime Expo schedule, and then their panel. It says they will announce their new work.
Yeah, I think the only sort of like confident bet we have is that they will have probably eventually reveal what Gridman Cross Dynazenon is eventually. Like whether that's a movie or a TV series or whatever. Is it a movie?
Yeah,
okay,
I thought they did say that was a movie.
Right. So
which
who
is
knows?
fine.
Maybe if we're lucky, we get some more information on that. But otherwise, this is the most. As Iro can attest, this is always the most exciting part of the cycle of being a Trigger fan. is when everything they've announced is already out, and then it's just seeing what new bullshit they announce.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as much as I liked Dynazenon, I think I'm ready for them to move away from that franchise for a bit. So
yeah,
I am. When is Anime Expo? Isn't that coming soon?
That's in 2 weeks.
July 4th, I believe.
July 4th. It's always the weekend of July 4th.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll probably know by next podcast.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Well, that's it for the list.
This camera's gonna save us all, right, everybody?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I can always get back to watching Thunderbolt Fantasy if I have to.
Hell yeah.
Now that sounds like a good
when's
time.
the next Thunderbolt Fantasy thing?
When's the next movie?
Come on, Yorubuchi. Come on, Peely.
Yeah, where's our Bangunha prequel movie?
Yeah, I left off, like, I have to watch the second movie. That's where I left off.
Yes.
Great.
Bewitching Melody of the West.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you guys clean up your backlog?
We're getting there.
We're getting there. So, sure, we could do a little bit of housekeeping here. We are about 2 or 3 episodes away from finishing both Big O and Gunsword. Yeah. And we are definitely thinking about maybe for, if the next season ends up being as bad as it looks right now, we may attempt to do a more ambitious, I guess, Tomino-themed backlog project, I guess.
Some of his, his non-Gundam shows or something?
Yes. We were definitely talking about maybe throwing a couple of non-Gundam Tomino anime on the slate.
All right. Well, we'll see if it comes to that, I guess.
Indeed.
I'm trying to remember the ending of Gunsword, and I feel like it's not good. But
well, we can talk about that next time.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, so enjoy it. But
look, we cheer every time Eldora's Soul comes on screen, and that's that's been enough to sustain us this far.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for the preview show. We'll see how those go. Next episode, we'll do our wrap-up for the spring season, and we can talk about how Birdie Wing is the anime of the year then.
Oh, wait, no one's making their prediction for what will be the #1 show?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
With you guys and your fantastic taste.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
You do this to me. I'll stay. I can't. It's not going to be good. This camera won't be good. I can't do it.
I don't have any faith in any of these other shows.
Yeah, I can't overstate how little emotion this slate of shows elicits out of me.
I think Cyberpunk will be good, but I'm still hesitant to actually really call that part of the
Also,
season.
I refuse to count that as a summer show. Like, that thing is going to come out September, and it's going to come out as a batch in September. So
that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. It's not that I don't think any of these shows could be good. I just do not have enough confidence to put my name on any of them.
Yeah, like.
And as we all know, the best show is going to be something that we didn't talk about. So
yeah, it's going to be. Let's just hit up Anachart real quick.
Chorus Recoil.
It's going to be Yojohan Time Machine Blue. Oh wait, no, this is under OVAs. Never mind. Oh, gotta go further up. KJ File. I don't know. Just pick a random show off of Anachart. And
yes,
that'll be the one.
I don't know, Artemis. Do you have any?
No, I mean, I'm not jumping up and down for any of these possibilities either. if I had to pick one from this list, if it goes enough of a comedy, then Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting.
Yeah, that could be. That feels at least safe.
As long as it doesn't take itself like super seriously, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do feel like Biscuit Hammer is probably the most likely that I'll actually watch the whole thing. So for whatever that's worth.
Worth.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, we will pick that up again in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. Sure will.
So. Let's wrap things up then with our normal housekeeping. You can check us out at theglorioblog.com, and like I said, you'll be seeing us writing about these once they start airing, so stay tuned for that. You can follow us on Twitter at theglorioblog. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, Stitcher, and of course YouTube, where you can like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, all those good YouTube things. You can tell your friends, tell your enemies. Catch everybody next time.